morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Thursday, September 12th, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card we are starting our day off with today is... Look! I feel like this card's like, hey, you guys were just talking about me. I'm going to come out and say hello. We've got here our Hierophant card in its reversal. We just had a class on you last night. What's up? So, not surprised to see this because so much of this work that we have been speaking about right now, I told you, it's about coming out of your comfort zone, breaking out of one's own paradigms, breaking out of one's own limitations. This is having a different impact depending on where you are in the frequency cycles. For masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. This is taking unorthodox approaches to typical problems. Both of these energies are effectively navigating that to a certain extent and wanting to effectively recognize. And this is because we see that so much of this energy deep within divine union right now is working on the refinement and becoming closer to their highest version of self. That's requiring a bit of that coming out of the comfort zone. For masculine, as we've spoken about, this is becoming breaking out of conformity, doing something in a way that may have felt like you would have been more energetically. I see a lot of the energy of masculine right now, doing things that in the past, that feeling of embarrassment, that anxiety about feeling silly, that anxiety about feeling vulnerable. This may have felt like it was preventing or limiting you in the past. But what is happening in that vector of the masculine that is coming more into alignment with their own emotionality, that is learning and working on that feeling of feeling emotionally or energetically safe, to be their most authentic version of self, and to have the feminine energy with them to support them in that endeavor. This is allowing that masculine energy to become more creatively expansive, to embrace that sense of energetic play. Because if these are modalities where the masculine was overly concerned about what others felt, in the via v, the sense of the masculine coming across as like someone who is not good at something or learning how to do something, we see even here that this is that masculine energy that is embracing and healing the inner child via v, the connectivity of allowing oneself to be seen in that space or place of coming into understanding. Because that ability of learning something and that ability of feeling the delight of learning how one goes, this isn't the masculine that feels like they're putting the pride up, that forces them to feel like they have to be perfect. This is the masculine embracing that imperfection is the pathwork to perfection. Right? You cannot become perfect at something unless you're willing to be seen as doing it imperfectly. While for feminine, this is less that energy of openness that we're seeing now. This is the energy of the feminine, like I want to say like focusing. Like this is the feminine energy that is working via the point of removing energetic distractions. This is the feminine energy that is working on feeling that sense of being able to prioritize, having a lot of that energetic energy around them that's calling forth and demanding things, and almost being able to just, keep that, like I want to say that precision, if you will. This is the feminine that's like almost like working on that sense of not building into distraction. So that ability here is also requiring the feminine to work on that point of pride, because if these were spaces in the past wherein the feminine was overly anxious about, accidentally not being present for someone or not being able to, I want to say not being able to be, like that sense of having to focus was one that felt like it was letting those down around them. This is the feminine says, why was the feminine placing their responsibility or their value in the ability to prioritize those around them? This is the feminine energy that's recognizing and identifying that work is one where the energy around them that is supportive of them via the connection to the masculine recognizes and identifies that that sense of the feminine learning to like kind of be ready to disappoint those around them is how the feminine is healing that vector from within. So we see even now the masculine becoming expansive, the feminine becoming very focused. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union. This is the energy. This is the same card. This card has been coming up in its reversal all week because I just keep seeing a lot of this energy right now. This is the binding. This is like the binding of the thread that is cutting the cords. This is the energy that is feeling the strength of what they're energetically building, the integrity of what they're creating via the connection to the counterpart. That's helping them recognize what was so damaged in the past experiences. And that observational point, even here, I see that there's a lot of this karmic closure that's happening right now for energy coming into divine union, because that's that moment of like holding that integrity as the point of comparison, that sometimes it just allows for that easement as it relates to going forward. And I see even now, like, that's a little bit of that, like, bittersweet energy here. Because I see even now there's a lot of energy that was holding something open with a wait and see approach. And now they're closing that book. Now they're coming into that point of understanding and recognition. And that sense of understanding, this is the energy that's like finally coming into a point of recovery. Because this isn't the energy that's waiting for something to heal from the past. This is the energy that feels like that healing has arrived and is now working on the process of letting go. While for masculine and feminine energy, that is deep, and that process here, like looking at something and learning how to hold it with a sense of compassion or sentimentality, we see even now, like, this is the energy that's like learning how to heal, because they're looking at those past experiences and saying, how am I going to hold this? While for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, I just see a lot of energy right now that is moving forward. These are new energetic connections. And I think that one of the things I appreciate about this is some of that frustration that we saw within the energy in separation right now. It's giving a little bit of this vitality. It's giving a little bit of this like vitality, because this is the energy that I want to say, there's been a massive breakthrough that happened for some energy in separation during this retrograde cycle. And the important thing to note here is that we're seeing that for so much of that energy, the recognition that you potentially just walked away from something that a past version of the self would have moved towards, because you identified that it was missing something integral. This is a lot of the energy in separation that's recognizing and feeling like they broke an energetic cycle, but understanding and defining the fact that that energetic cycle that you broke, it was in here, wasn't it? Right? It was within. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Second card in our 5-card spread. We have here, like to see this, Page of Swords. This is great. Vitality, new energetic approaches, a little bit of like, these are training wheels. This is training. This is training wheels energy that we're seeing here right now. This is training wheels. This is training wheels across all of the frequencies. These two cards in combination is my training wheels card, because what we're effectively seeing here is this is the energy that is recognizing that in order to move towards their manifestation goals, they got to do something a little bit differently. You got to do something a little bit differently. This is the energy that's seeing the fact that that ability to focus on what it is that you desire, it changes you, because it makes you kind of move away from the things that are not that. So we simply see that for a lot of this energy right now in separation, this is a double breakthrough that's happening. Right? And the double breakthrough I'm seeing that's happening for some energy in separation is the recognition of both maintaining, focusing, prioritizing the manifestation goal, and at the same time the recognition of how integral the manifestation goal is, because there's something that used to attract you. There's something that may have drawn you forward that now you're like, "Nyeh." You got the ick for. You got the ick for it. It's no longer the acquired taste of the manifestation has changed your own energetic taste to a certain extent. So we see even now that a lot of this energy, like this is a little bit of excitement that I see here. There's a little bit of this energy here that's like feeling like they've recognized that they've broken like some kind of energetic cycle. But that energetic cycle that you've broken to a certain extent, the call's coming from inside the house. The call is coming from inside the house. It's within you. Well, and this is a lot of this energy. I see even now new energetic connections, but with a sense of vitality, a sense of purpose, a sense of refining and defining the manifestation goals. And a lot of this is because of that Mercury retrograde's like saying like, thank you, because I just see that a lot of this energy saw something during the Mercury retrograde that changed your perspective. Recognize something that you saw that was similar to the past, and instead of going, oh good, that's what I like, you were like, no. Well, for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, I just keep getting, for a lot of this energy coming into divine union right now, this is like, I can see the energy that's just like weaving back and forth, building back that space of trust, handing that shuttle back and forth through that thread, healing the trust center in the process, feeling the integrity of what they're building energetically between them. And here comes that Mercury retrograde shadow period, just like, do you need these scissors? Do you need these scissors for something? Is there something here you might want to, is there something here you might need to use these scissors for? Because I just see that that's the energy that's just clear, like almost having that moment. And this is what we talk about with cord cutting. It's not just like, oh, I did it. Look, I got some thread. I did this. This is that moment that we recognize that feeling, often that feeling of being able to release an energetic connection comes with the identification or understanding of the quality and nature of a connection and why it was damaged in the first place. So we see even now that understanding, it's like this is the understanding that someone going like, oh, and then like scissors just drop out of the heavens, like right in front of you. Oh, there they, oh, I didn't know I put those. Because that's the energy that's basically having that moment of understanding that that's not necessarily something that you can often force until you're energetically ready. And so I just see a lot of this energy here being like, whew, like just feeling that sense, and that is how so much of this energy is healing right now. While for masculine and feminine energy, deep within divine union, a lot of this work that I'm seeing deep within divine union, this is pushing out of one's own comfort zone. This is doing something in a way that you haven't necessarily done it before. And there's anxiety here. There's certainly some anxiety. There's a little bit of this like beginning energy. But that is also what I'm seeing here is this is that excited beginning energy. That's moving some of that anxiety into excitement is what I see that a lot of the energy deep within divine union is doing right now. Even that is taking a new approach. Third card in our 5-card spread. This card was coming out in the same exact position yesterday, I'm pretty sure. If it wasn't same, it was close. These cards are all very similar to the ones we pulled yesterday, and I guarantee you I've done a bunch of readings between now and then. These cards have been having a workout. We've got here our 3 of Pentacles again, and it's reversal. This is that breakthrough energy. This is all breaking new ground. Breaking new ground. This is new projects, new plans, new possibilities, most importantly though, new approaches that I'm seeing here. And this is the excitement in taking new approaches, right? I told you a lot of the energy right now in divine, and this is a funny thing, a lot of the energy in divine union right now thinks that they're doing something differently. But what they're really doing is they're getting comfortable with discomfort. That's the deeper lesson that's happening here. Finding working through. It's all about, I keep getting acquired taste. It's working through that sense of being able to do, and this is the energy deep within divine union that is getting comfortable with being energetically uncomfortable. That is that, like, you know, like that is the muscle here that's getting worked through. And that's a lot of that work that we saw that was starting via the retrograde, doing all of that like work in relationality to the work on the pride space during this retrograde period. This is why we kept getting the message of saying, don't take it personal, get productive. Don't take it personal, get productive. Don't take it personal, get productive. Because when you don't take things personally, you move the pride aside and you allow the play to emerge. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, I told you, look at this. This is the fresh beginning that becomes the ending of the past. This is the energy that's in the threshold. This is the energy that is literally there. I can see this energy right now. They're like feeling like they're like the partnership that becomes a portal. This is the energy that's looking, and they're seeing the changes of the past and their perception of it. They're looking forward at what they're creating, and they're feeling that change that is happening in like at like simultaneously that shift, right? A lot of this energy that's shifting right now in the process of the closing of the door as the other door opens, right? I told you a lot of closure comes from going forward. It doesn't come from going backwards. Masculine, but what's happening here, and this is the thing that's important, the ability to move forward, the reason we're talking about it closing a door is it's changing one's own perspective and perception about the past. While for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation, a lot of this energy in separation is recognized that those changes are happening. The manifestation is arriving, and the energy in separation is recognizing the manifestation that they've set their sights on is arriving, because they can see the changes from within that are occurring as it relates to working towards that. Right? That's like a manifestation isn't a wish. It's like it is a call to action within the self. And so we see even now that a lot of that energy is like looking at themselves and going, I've changed. Oh boy, right? And that is the energy that is moving forward right now in separation. So I'm not surprised to see a little bit of this excitement here, because the frustration is the amplification. If this is energy, I've been getting this message over and over. If something that used to devastate you is just frustrating you, well, congratulations, you've healed, you've gotten stronger. That's the strength that the manifestation is bringing forth on, because you're not sticking around trying to turn something into what it's not. You know what it is that you're looking for, and you're saying to yourself, I'll know it when I see it, and I'll know it when it's not that. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is, look at this, 10 of Wands in its reversal. That impatience. I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of energy in separation. Very impatient. I bet you're saying to yourself, like, when did I become so picky? When did I become so impatient? Why do I feel like I got a hair trigger on this? This is a lot of the energy in separation has a hair trigger, because you know what your manifestation goal is. You know what it looks like. You've got it so focused in here, it makes you have more of a frustration in navigating spaces or places if you feel like it's not. Right? This is the energy that's not being patient, because this is the energy that is prioritizing the manifestation goal. So the energy that's prioritizing the manifestation goal, and again, if these are spaces where there were past scenarios where you would have kind of come into connection with someone and been like, well, I don't think they want the thing. They haven't given any evidence of wanting what I want, but maybe if I just stick around for a few months, something can change here. This is the energy going, that is building into someone's potential. The minute we say that, we're saying, I'm not building into what I see. I'm building into who I deem or desire someone to become. And so this is a lot of the energy that's recognizing that the pathwork of healing is, this is the energy that's almost recognizing that they're doing that for themselves, but it's also an act of compassion for those that they come into counterpart energy with, because this is the energy that says, I'm not going to waste their time. I'm not going to waste my time. So this is the energy that it literally feels like that impatience is a profound act of compassion, because that's the energy that feels like the gift of the manifestation goal is being able to identify that much more quickly. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, I just see that a lot of this energy coming into divine union right now, this is the energy that recognizes that they're building into a connection right now. And this is why, even in having, this isn't the energy that needs to move towards the shared manifestation goals. It is building in the present. It is the trust that they're building in the present. It is sharing the same energetic perspective. It is the easement that's being created there, in the feeling of desiring the same things and moving with easement towards them. This is a lot of that energy that says to themselves that integrity that they're building into right now in an energetic connection, it almost feels compulsory, because this is the energy that looks back and says, I can't go back. How could one go back after one has experienced that? While for masculine and feminine energy that is in separate, like deep within divine union right now, this is a lot of energy deep within divine union right now that is just, I gotta say, I keep getting the same thing, that being comfortable doing something that is uncomfortable it is the energetic lesson that's happening here. This is all about adaptability for the energy deep within divine union right now. Regardless of what it is, the true lesson behind whatever this is, the training wheels, is the adaptability. Fifth card in our 5-card spread is Queen of Pentacles in its reversal. This is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Feminine, again, there's something about this here. This is feminine energy that's working on that space or place of coming into, I just keep getting here, coming into self-discipline. For feminine energy, this is all pathwork of self-discipline, in building that sense of energetic discipline. I'm working to prioritize things. And I see even here that for a lot of that feminine energy, being able to do that, it's hard. There are wounds here. There are wounds that the feminine carries in this. And some of these wounds aren't even their own wounds. It feels like they're wounds that have been passed down to them, particularly and especially as it relates to the feminine navigating those spaces and places that have, I just keep seeing, and we talked about this. Remember about a week ago, masculine was working on this, being frustrated about the energetic lesson learned. Like there's a lot of this energy of the feminine that's working through that vector, that's helping them recognize that if they feel badly prioritizing their needs, that comes from a lot of that experience wherein they were maybe feeling like they were energetically taught that wasn't a good thing to do, right? Masculine is helping feminine in that vector, because masculine themselves, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, masculine is working on healing that vector that made them feel that it wasn't okay to be seen as someone that is learning, or someone who is learning as they go, right? Both of these energies are healing over correction points in their own experience that is requiring a bit of energetic rigor. And it's hard work. For masculine, it's navigating, again, it's learning to come back into that space of safe play of the self. For feminine, it's learning that prioritizing one's own self does not mean that you're rejecting those around you in the process. That's almost the feminine energy that's looking towards, and again, both of these energies observing one another and getting that energetic support. Masculine's giving feminine confidence. Feminine is giving masculine reassurance in that modality. Continuing to get clarity, but it's hard work. I can see it. For masculine and feminine coming into divine union, This is the volatility I see that's connected to some of those past experiences, because these are the energies that are looking back now, and their perception is changing in relationality to what they're building together. That's helping them see things that they haven't seen before. This is the energy that's feeling a little bit of that frustration to the self, because if there's something that you're seeing now that feels perfectly clear that you could not identify in the past, I want you to give yourself a little bit of grace. I want you to remember you cannot hold yourself accountable for something that you did not know, even if it feels obvious now, right? Because that's that modality. That is the inner child healing. Because I like to point out, if this was yesterday, if you just found out something today that you didn't know yesterday, well, then yesterday, you're now inner child healing for yesterday. When we talk about inner child healing, it is the space of healing and forgiving the self that did not know better. Like, that's what we mean by inner child healing. So we see even now that so much of this energy is working through so many of those vectors right now, and it's requiring a lot of that unpacking. And a lot of that unpacking, this is the energy that's almost like unpacking the past as they're building forward in the present, because suddenly they're looking at experiences and they're getting entirely different lessons. While for masculine and feminine energy that is deep, that is in separation, this is the energy that, again, I'm getting more of that focus of this, and like the breakthroughs that a lot of this energy is having in separation is basically, I keep seeing the manifestation or bust. This is the energy saying the manifestation or bust, because a lot of this energy, and it's masculine and feminine here, I just see that there's a lot of this trust that's working on being healed. And a lot of this is the feeling of recognizing something about, like I told you, a lot of this work that we recently saw was like the darkness of the past shining a light on the present. This is that energy that's almost reaffirming and saying to themselves, better to be in solitude than to be in an energetic connection that's not in alignment, that causes turbulence, that causes energetic or emotional disruption. Feminine's looking at that and saying, like, this is that energy. The feminine saying, I'm not going energetically back to something that doesn't feel like it creates stability. Masculine's looking back on something and saying, I'm not going to create something that feels like I'm constantly walking on eggshells or feeling like I'm trying to define or discern what it is that the feminine desires. So we see these energies, you see, they're moving towards their manifestation goals. And I told you, they're saying to themselves, like, as they do so, you know, like the counterpart for me will also have my same manifestation, and they're about to like bump into each other. Continuing to get clarification between our Hierophant, and I can see even now, like, a lot of this energy is frustrated. Like, a lot of this energy is moving forward and being like, I don't even care. I don't even want it anymore. I don't even want to see it. I can see the energy going, like I told you, it's the same yesterday. It's the same energy that we saw yesterday, which is like, I'm tired, Grandpa. Well, too bad. The Hierophant's going, well, too bad. But this is exactly why the energy is like they're on the cusp of a breakthrough, because that's the energy that's on the breakthrough with the self, to the sense that they're being more themselves than they ever have been before, because they're not being so precious about it. Continuing to get clarification between our Hierophant in its reversal and our Page of Swords in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Cups. Now you see, now we got both. Look at these two. Look how frustrated these two are. And I just keep seeing that there's something that just happened. I just see there's something that happened in energetic separation. And same tune. I hate that song. I'm getting same tune. I hate that song. Why are you singing that song? Because I see even now that so much of this energy, and this is what I meant about that energy of the past, the darkness of the past that shines a light in the present. I just keep seeing that there's something that just happened during this retrograde period where it's like that feeling of familiarity. This is what I mean about like the manifestation that's creating that ick. Something that feels akin to something that you moved away from because you were following your manifestation goal, and feeling or seeing that in the energetic counterpart that came towards you was like, like it created that distaste, if you will. It created that repulsion point, because this is that energy that is recognizing and working on refining their manifestation goals to such an extent that they're becoming more highly attuned to recognizing what isn't in alignment with them, right? Like that's the gift of the manifestation, being like, that's not what you were asking for. That was not in the order, right? Being like, and this is the energy that's refining their manifestation goal, because I can see even now, like the manifestation being like, I said no onions, like really having to like hone that down to a certain extent, because even here, this is that reminder that when we move towards our manifestations, that ability to articulate and define and discern what is truly for us is how we come to understand ourselves. So this is the energy that isn't externalizing that. They're not trying to change someone. They're not trying to they're not trying to jam like the round peg into the square hole of someone fitting their manifestation goal. This is the energy that says, the energy that's in alignment, that desires the same things that I do. It's not going to feel like pulling teeth. It's going to feel like we're giving each other gifts, right? So we see even now, a lot of that energy is working through so much of that, specifically and particularly by recognizing something that they may have found compelling that is now anything but. For masculine, I told you even now, if this was masculine that was able to put forth the emotionality and the articulation of a manifestation goal, the feminine, this is a masculine that may be feeling a lot of frustration, because this is the masculine, like that took a lot for the masculine to do. Like there's a masculine here that's like going through that process of kind of saying to themselves and saying like, you know, I even see some energy of masculine going, did I do something too soon? And I see maybe even masculine energy articulating this to other masculine, but I see masculine energy, I see the energy around the masculine in this way going like, no. Like this is the same thing of saying the things that you desire will never, they're saying the things that you desire will never repel the person that's for you, right? Like that's the energetic equivalent of someone looking at that and almost feeling that affirmation as they go forward, right? And feminine is having more of this be a frustration moment, right? This is why it's a little bit more of the emotionality there for masculine right now, because this is a little bit of emotional bruising. For feminine, this feels more like the feminine that's working through something here, that we see that this is the feminine that feels more like the feminine, if not receiving the manifestation from masculine, looking back on whatever they just experienced and saying, when you don't provide a manifestation goal towards feminine, it doesn't feel like you want to co-create with them. It feels like you want to possess them. It feels like you want to build around them. It feels like you perceive them as an object instead of a person. And this is why we see that there's a little bit of that energy of the feminine that's very mindful but not demure, because this is the feminine energy saying, you know, don't hold me like that. You know, you can't hold me like that. You have to hold me as someone who you're building with, not something that you possess. So we see even now that a lot of that energy is healing via changing their own perceptions upon things. And there's frustration here, but I told you even now, look at these two. They're like destined to meet. Masculine and feminine, because they're walking away from things. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union. So much of this energy that I see coming into divine union right now, this is a lot. There's a lot to unpack here. I see it. There's a lot to unpack here. I just keep seeing that there's a lot of this energy right now working through this, and all of it I'm getting here, like it's a little bit of this like head scratching moment, because I see even now that something that you're receiving in the present and that change of perception, it's opening up new questions in relationality to what was experienced in the previous experiences prior to this point. And the thing I see that's like a little bit emotionally or energetically frustrating for some of the energy experiencing that is that feeling like that's like I want to say like the questions unanswered, the conjectures that one builds, that one feels to a certain extent that they can't necessarily get the clarity upon. Because I'm just seeing even here that like if they're like, I gotta say here, if this is like the energy that's now identifying what was missing in a previous energetic connection via the connection to a counterpart that they're building towards from a point of integrity, that moment of being able to look back on something and almost like wanting to wanting to have an intimate conversation built and based upon the things that you now understand, but also recognizing the impossibility of doing so because the thing that you are now building in that allows you that level or degree of openness was not present then. You know what I mean? Like, this is the energy that's like, wow, there was just that piece missing. Everything was like no wonder it was a mess. Everything was falling on the floor. Did they realize that? Did they know that that was happening? Was I blind to it? Were they blind to it? You know, like all of these energies, I just see it's like all of these energies where it's like that question mark is almost growing as you get further away from something. But even here, that is the energy that is learning that new space or place that they're holding something, because this is the energy that's almost looking back, and they're not looking, like I want to say, it's like not looking for apologies, looking for answers to questions. While for masculine and feminine energy deep within the divine union right now, this is the energy doing a lot of inner child healing right now. This is the energy doing a lot of inner child healing. And masculine is healing that vector that said to themselves, you can't be childlike. You can't be grown and be childlike. And this is a masculine saying, why can't I be grown and childlike? Why is that considered? Now, and I got to stress this, and this is how the masculine is healing this, right? This is the masculine energy. Look at this. I love this for masculine energy right now, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. This is masculine energy that is refining and understanding the difference between being childish and childlike. Childish versus childlike. What is childish? Childish is the qualities and characteristics that we might not necessarily consider positives that we find in a child, in an energy that does not necessarily understand. Right? Those aspects that we often try to correct out because they lead someone in path work that isn't positive, right? So being like overly demanding, or desiring something that is impossible, or being overly energetically selfish because you don't recognize that those around you also are coming from a same point of compassion. These are what we would identify as childish traits. Childlike traits are all of the traits and qualities and characteristics that we hold in high esteem, that children maintain. And that is a sense of wonder. That is a sense of creativity. That is a sense of profound compassion for those around them that often excels beyond those who are energetically older or more mature or have become more jaded. So that ability of navigating this is masculine energy that is refining between the difference between childish and childlike. While for feminine energy, this is the feminine energy that is working through that sense of being cold, of being energetically ruthless, versus being determined, being passionate, being focused. So this is more, and this is why you see here, this is more of a journey between feminine, between fire and ice, which is, this is the feminine, this is the feminine healing, that difference between the energy of ice, which feels like it is cold, it feels like it is dispassionate, it feels like it is not caring, versus that same quality and characteristic that often looks similar, but is marked by a high degree of compassion, a high degree of care, a high degree of sensitivity, though that same force. And this refinement is how these energies are healing, because this is the energy that is scrutinizing that quality within the self to be able to ask oneself, am I being childish or am I being childlike? Am I being ice or am I being fire, right? Continuing to get clarification between these cards right now, between our Page of Swords in its upright and our Three of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with the Eight of Swords in its upright. Now, this is hard work. This is hard work for the energy deep within divine union, because this is about personal choice. This is about the articulation and amplification of that choice. And this is what the reason that we see this is because This is the energy that is recognizing the value and power of that quality and characteristic that feels like it's expansive versus the energy that feels like it is singularly purposed and singularly motivated. And I see that for a lot of the energy in this spectrum right now, the determination point has something to do with the sense of categorical imperative, which is again the ability to identify and not have something that you feel is exceptional, but something that you feel it would give immediately to those around you, right? And that's what we like about that, like childish nature. The reason we see childish as a difficulty point is because it is exceptional, right? Childish nature often is one that says, I demand something that no one else around me can have, right? Childlike nature is one that we would love to have everyone experience, because that is that abundance, or that like that sharing point. Same thing between like that feeling of like the cold energy, right? That can be very stagnating, versus that amplification of fire. A lot of that cold energy, it feels like it is freezing. It feels like it is rigid. It feels like it is inflexible because it is focused on the self. Whereas the energy of the fire is one that is the passion that is spread. That is something that you hope to kindle or awaken in those around you. So that's that moment that feels like it's giving forth. So we see even now that this is how those energies are navigating those differences and what they're trying to cultivate within the self, by identifying how it feels like it nourishes, and whether it nourishes those around or just the self is the calibration point that a lot of the energy within divine union is utilizing to identify and recognize the traits that feel like they're often characteristic, but the discerning factor between that amplifies what feels like it is positive versus what feels like it is stagnating. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union right now, a lot of this work that I'm seeing right now for the energy coming into divine union is recognizing, and this is why I'm just getting, there's a massive amount of karma that's getting lifted off of the energy that's coming into divine union right now. Because if these were energies that were blaming themselves, overly blaming themselves for something that they were navigating in a previous experience, this is the clarity that they're potentially having in what was their responsibility versus what was not. In what was something that they feel like they could have changed at the time of experiencing it versus something that was reactive to something they were experiencing. And something about navigating that right now, that is often, sometimes the healing we receive is not the healing in terms of recognizing what we have to change in the self, but understanding those spaces or places where we overly blamed ourselves. We were carrying too much of that energetic guilt. That ability to come into that point of self-personal understanding. That's why we see so much of this energy right now, that even in the recognition of that, the burden is released. It's like the questions are there, but the burden itself is released, because the questions are the articulation and wanting to understand why what you're observing occurred. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. This is a lot of the energy in separation that's really focusing on not just coming into partnership, but the quality and characteristic of a partnership. The recognition point that not all partnerships are alike. Some partnerships are expansive. Some partnerships are balanced. Some partnerships come into that space of reciprocity. Not all partnerships are alike. Some partnerships you can be in, they're not balanced. The quality and nature of the relationship is not one that supports or focuses or prioritizes that type of energetic balance. And this is why we see that a lot of that energy right now is focusing on the articulation of the manifestation goals, because this is the energy that almost feels like they're looking towards someone, and by saying to them, what direction are you headed? They're saying, what kind of partnership are you ideally seeking? And that ability of articulating upon that, this is why what may have felt like a nice to have in the past is now becoming a need to have. It's not something that we're seeing so much adaptability in. This is the energy that's almost saying state your business prior to coming into an energetic connection, because they want to make sure that they're not going to energetically connect themselves to someone and then find out that they want very, very different things. And that becomes that energetic pull that goes like this way and that way. Continuing to get clarification between our 3 of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our 10 of Wands in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through. King of Swords in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy in separation. I mean, this is a lot. I gotta say, there's a lot of unpacking that's happening here right now. I just see it. Masculine and feminine. And look, they're getting closer to one another. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Yeah, I told you, they were like over the days, they've been moving like this. I've been seeing them go like closer and closer together. And it's difficult because here I see even now, both of these energies are moving forward on the same path. And I gotta stress, they're not in great, I mean, like, you might not be feeling, like, I can see a lot of energy in separation being like, how you doing? Being like, not great. Like, I can see a lot of the energy going, not great. And why, like, look, how you doing? Not great. How are you doing? Not great, right? Because these are the energies right now. Masculine is feeling a little energetically defeated in separation right now. I can just see this. But I have to stress here that a lot of this, I want to say a lot of this energy of masculine, like coming into that modality, a lot of this that I'm seeing is the masculine. Like, I think that the benefit that I'm seeing here, masculine, is you're not taking it internally. I can just see this here. This is not masculine energy that is working to try to energetically change something that they're recognizing and identifying in feminine energy if they feel like it is a blocker in terms of coming into an energetic connection, right? This is a little bit of that processing, because I see even now that some of these energies that are moving away from an energetic connection that was very appealing. This is why I'm telling you even now, I can see why so much of this energy in separation is frustrated, because I'm seeing a lot of situations right now where someone is very frustrated because they're looking and they're like, that person checked every box. That person checked every box except, I can see the energy going, except the most important one, right? And that ability of that energy, both of these energies going through an experience like that to a certain extent. And I can see that's a very frustrating situation, right? Because that's that moment that you look up and you're like, are you messing with me? You know, like, that's the energy going, are you messing with me? The universe is not messing with you. Okay, what's happening here is you're understanding. I told you, because a lot of this energy is recognizing the gift that this retrograde has provided, is recognizing what is integral versus what is artifice, right? What is beautiful versus what is necessary, right? And so I see even now that some of that frustration that may have occurred for energy in separation, like coming, like during that retrograde cycle, was having to navigate a situation where you're like, this place looks gray. Oh my gosh, there's no like there's no walls. Where are the walls? Oh, it's just a facade. Like, it's that feeling that when the thing that's most important isn't there, like, you know, it's like, if only, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of that energy here that I see is so frustrating, because the energy is recognizing and identifying what is their priority, even amidst a lot of the things that they would have held in high esteem prior to having that manifestation goal. So we see even now that, and this is why I see it even now, this is the energy that's like almost feeling frustrated with themselves and being like, meh, because this is the energy that's like, darn that manifestation goal, right? This is the energy, but this is also the energy that's recognizing, they're saying no. Like that ability of seeing that, like, this is the energy that sees and understands how far they've come in the sense of something that they would have gladly run towards. They're now just going, like, sorry, you know, like that ability to do so, like, that is the breakthrough. While for masculine, and feminine energy coming into divine union. This is the energy that's having those breakthroughs and that integral peace. I told you, a lot of the energy coming into divine union right now, they feel like someone's just popped that piece in. Like someone's just popped the piece into their puzzle and they're going, where'd you get that? And like, I've had that thing forever. You know, like being like, where'd you get that? I've had that forever. And then this is the energy that suddenly is able to see those spaces and places in the past where there was always that aspect that was energetically missing. There was always that thing there, right? And it's one of those moments I can even see the energy being like, I couldn't put my finger on it, but now I can. It's going to be different for everyone because this is the energy that says, this is the energy that's in alignment. And the minute that you're in energetic alignment, everything makes a lot more sense. While for masculine and feminine energy, and it is I got to see even now, like the thing that I see that is so hard about this, for the energy coming into divine union, is this is the energy that's now going to have to learn the hard journey of forgiving themselves. This is the energy that is in the process of coming into divine union. And a lot of that energy about coming into the divine union is the process of being able to forgive oneself for either the things you couldn't see or the things you didn't know prior to entering into that connection. While for masculine and feminine energy deep within divine union, this is the energy coming out of their comfort zone. And it's hard at every moment because this is the energy that someone's saying, I could just go back to doing it the way I always do it. I could just stay in my comfort zone. And this is the energy that's saying to themselves, no, this is the energy that's going, that ability of doing so, that ability of pushing the envelope, like that's the energy that's staying really committed and focused on what that looks like and what those changes are, because this is the energy that is working to be comfortable in spaces and places that are uncomfortable. Continuing to get clarification between our 10 of Wands in its reversal in combination with our Queen of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our 10 of Pentacles. We've got 2 of our 10 cards here. So again, a lot of completion that we're seeing here. A lot of energetic cycles, but this is good because I see even now for the energy deep within divine union, these are closure points that are having new beginnings. There are new opportunities that are opening here. This is a lot of energy that is letting things go, but always in order to pick things up again. So a lot of that work that we're seeing here is the energy coming into a space or place of expansion. Feminine really focusing on a task. Masculine really building into that state of like opening up, if you will, or building into that space or place of like being more energetically prolific or creative, because both of these energies are working on healing that point of pride in relationality to where they felt like they had to prioritize. And this is how they're effectively working through that. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union. A lot of this energy coming into divine union right now. This is the door opening and the door closing right next to one another. And this is the energy that's building that closure from the past via the connection and the understanding that they're arriving to in the present. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. This is a lot of that energy in separation that is, I keep saying, accepting no imitations. And I see even now, like the thing about this is the energy that like is building in that pathwork of patience. This is the energy saying, I'm not trying to like, that's not a race. This is the energy saying, this is the energy feeling secure and saying to themselves, as long as I prioritize that manifestation goal, it will arrive. Because this is the energy that says to themselves, the minute the manifestation goal will arrive is the moment you say, I will accept nothing less. Continuing to get clarification between our Knight of Cups in combination with our Eight of Swords in its upright. One card to clarify, 2 cards coming out to clarify. We've got here the Hermit and the Four of Pentacles. This is what's so beautiful. We love to see this energy right now for the energy in separation, because this is the energy in separation that effectively says to themselves, like, I'll wait. Like, this is the energy that's recognizing that that pathwork of building into a point of energetic solitude is the appreciation of one's own energy. And what happens when we appreciate our own energy? When we appreciate our own energy, we raise the value of it. We change the way we perceive it. So this is the energy that is recognizing that so much of this work that they're doing right now as they're moving towards their manifestation goals is holding a higher value to their time, effort, and energy. While for masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now, this is that light that is shining forward from the past, built and based upon the integrity that you're experiencing in the relationship in the present. While for and this is that energy that's getting so much insight, because it's not just the fact that the past is closing, it's that you're learning different lessons given what you're receiving in the present context. While for masculine and feminine energy that is deep within divine union, this is a lot of that energy that feels like, I feel like here, building new habits, building new perspective, building new points of view, doing things in different ways, tangible, intangible. Like this is really setting your sights on something and staying very focused. This is a work of that patience and perseverance that we saw that was becoming recognizable during that retrograde cycle. Continuing to get clarification between our Eight of Swords in combination with our King of Swords in its reversal. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with our Death card in its reversal. Bit of different energy now depending on where we are in the frequency cycles. Now masculine and feminine energy right now. A lot of this work that we're identifying, the frustration point I'm seeing for the energy within divine union is recognizing one's own personal limitations. This is the energy that's recognizing one's own personal limitations, feeling the frustrations within those spaces. But persevering, I want to say persevering regardless to a certain extent. I see that even here, so much of this energy within divine union, and I have to stress this, the beauty of this energy is that when they recognize something that feels like a limitation, they move into transformation. You know, like this is the energy that doesn't allow themselves to feel like this is the energy that gets hard on themselves when they feel overwhelmed because they don't feel like they're being energetically creative enough. And so I see even here that a lot of that energy within divine union, you know, I think one of the hurdles that we're identifying here, more than anything, is, and I think that this is the quality or the beauty of these relationships that I'm seeing, is one, that the energy is almost like, this isn't energy that, I'll put it this way, this isn't changing for the via V, the connection to the counterpart. This is feeling inspired to change, being in an energetic connection where someone accepts you, even if you don't. You know, like this is that difference between someone that feels forced to change to be able to maintain an energetic connection versus the energy that feels the vitality of exploration within the self via V, the supportive energy. That, and I see even in here, a lot of this energy would not feel that vitality were it not for the energetic supportive environment of the energy of connection. The energy coming into divine union is also experiencing that now. The energy within the divine union is also experiencing that to such an extent that their priorities are changing and their perception is changing, because the integrity that they're building forth with in an energetic connection, they can see now what those limitations were that would have potentially felt like you were putting too much work into something that could never change because something was integrally missing. While for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation right now, I just see a lot of this energy in separation that's feeling, I see it, it's feeling frustration. It's navigating spaces and places of frustration. It's feeling that sense of sameness. And I have to stress that's why there's so much of this potential aggravation that's occurring right now for some energy in separation. Because if this is the energy that's saying this is always happening, this is the energy that's also recognizing and reaffirming themselves, saying it's actually something has changed, because if something that used to devastate me now just frustrates me, this is the energy that's recognizing that their own ability to move away from something that isn't for them, instead of overly investing and waiting for it to become something that it's not. This is the energy that recognizes that frustration is part and parcel for their manifestations coming in. because this is the energy that's almost feeling motivated into activation when they're not seeing what it is that they desire to see. And that sense of priority, that sense of discernment, like that's the energy that now feels like they can't change that. It's just part and parcel for the self. And that's why we see that this is a lot of that energy that's like that discerning. Like that discerning is also being, because this is the energy that's not looking towards someone with the hope of changing them. And the minute you're saying, I'm not going to try to change them, it changes your own movement in relationality towards how you're approaching things. So we see even now, like this is all of that transformation energy that we see. This is the energy in separation that's transforming via V, the determination of not feeling the need to have to transform someone in order to maintain or come into an energetic connection with them. Continuing to get clarification between our King of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Ten of Pentacles in its upright. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Nine of Swords in its upright. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation. So much of this work that we're seeing and identifying in separation, there's grief here. There's frustration. I can even see this. I can see that there's a moment here that like some of this energy is looking at what may have been like the hope or the aspiration of an ideal energetic counterpart that they may have they may have started to build towards during that retrograde cycle. But feeling that sense of something that is integrally missing, recognizing and identifying it, but just accepting it, right? Just accepting it and not overly internalizing why it's there, just accepting the circumstances for what they are. This is the energy that is feeling, again, frustrated instead of devastated. And that is the energy that, again, is able to move forward with greater easement, and they're moving towards their manifestation goals. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now. This is the elation and the devastation. This is the energy that's feeling their manifestation goals that are coming into fruition. And now everything prior to that point, it's like they're now coming into like that space of moving them into a place where they're mourning them. They're holding grief for them because they recognize and identify that to a certain extent that moving towards the manifestation goal closes a lot of those chapters in the past. So we see even now that so much of that work here, this is why the energy right now, I want to say, is going through a lot of volatility, because I see even now it's like happy and sad as that understanding comes in the process of feeling that sense of celebration. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming in, that's deep within the divine union, this is the energy that is working on navigating their own doubts and fears and uncertainties. These are the energies that, again, they're not moving towards their fears, they're articulating upon them. And the ability to articulate upon the fears, this is that energy of the problem that finds the solutions, because this is the energy that is, again, working on feeling uncomfortable. They're working on building into that feeling of discomfort instead of running away from it. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Hermit card and our Four of Pentacles in its upright and our Death card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. We've got 3 of our 10 cards out. We've got here our 10 of Cups in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union. Oh, I just see even now some of these frustrations that feel like they're emerging have to do in relationality towards the manifestation goals. I just see even now that a lot of that energy is working towards facilitating what feels like it creates a point of easement from day to day. And I see even now that so much of that energy here, there's anxiety, there's frustration, there's uncertainty. But I also am recognizing that for so much of that energy here, this is a lot of problem solving. is what I'm getting for a lot of the energy deep within divine union. Because this is a lot of that energy that is just, I told you, very committed towards making things as easy as possible going forward. So I just see a lot of this, like, focusing right now on anything that may feel like an energetic hurdle in order to facilitate easement going forward. While for masculine and so this is a lot of that, I want to say this is a lot of that Virgo energy, becoming very practical right now and doing things to make something energetically easier. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now. A lot of this energy that I see is navigating forward at this time. This is a lot of that energy that's suddenly recognizing and identifying some space. This is why there's grief here, because these are spaces where, and again, you had that manifestation goal with a counterpart, but it felt like you weren't ever able to move towards it. And suddenly you're in an energetic connection in the present with a counterpart that you feel like you've identified and recognized, and you're feeling that stability point. This is the energy that's now finally coming into a space that they can unpack and heal from situations and circumstances that they may have hoped would lead to that, but never did. That's that sense of grief, right? That's where grief comes from. The feeling of the hope that then isn't necessarily fulfilled. So we see even a lot of that energy is going through that process of healing by perceiving those spaces in the past with new eyes. While for masculine and feminine energy and separation, this is more of that energy. I like it though. This is the energy that's basically saying the manifestation goal or bust. This is the energy that's holding that affirmation to themselves in separation, saying the ability to articulate upon what one's manifestation goals isn't a nice to have, it's a need to have. It's not something that requires patience. It's required as a point of entry. It's like the state your business, if you will. Continuing to get clarification between our death card in its reversal in combination with our 9 of swords in its upright. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now, and we like to see this. We've got here our devil card in its reversal. So much of this work that we're seeing here, and this is I gotta say, there's a lot of energetic unpacking right now for energy and separation, because I'm almost seeing here that something about that energy and separation, recognizing and identifying how much you have changed, seeing those qualities and characteristics within the self that have changed, feeling again that sense of seeing something in a potential recent counterpart that would have been very attractive to you in the past, but now feels like it's somewhat like it pushes, like moves you away from them. We see even here that so much of this energy is recognizing how much they have changed. And that ability of doing so, I can see it can be almost devastating when we come into healing, because a lot of this energy is finally giving themselves compassion in relationality to any of those experiences that feel like, they overly internalized why they weren't on their path, or they allowed themselves to try to cope with the situation via moving towards parts of the self that feels like it wasn't necessarily in alignment. I just see a profound amount of healing right now happening for energy and separation. But I also see that it's bittersweet, because that's that affirmation of staying committed to one's own path work. It often requires that sense of seeing something that you wish another could change, but understanding that they need to be on that path work themselves. I just keep seeing a lot of energy right now in separation, almost saying to themselves, I can't make someone heal. I can't make someone change. They have to desire to do that. They have to be able to perceive that. And if this was energy that tried to navigate that in a way of showing someone something, even giving them some kind of opportunity to clarify if they weren't able to articulate the manifestation goals, this is the energy that's moving forward, doing the right thing, but also potentially feeling like it's the hard thing. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, what I'm basically seeing for so much of this energy in divine union, this is that pathwork of forgiveness. This is the path of forgiving yourself in the process. All those spaces and places where you may have overly blamed yourself for something not moving in the way that you thought it was supposed to move, because now you're starting to understand what was missing in the first place. Well, for and so this is the energy. It's like I told you, it just got moved into the recoveries room. Like moving into divine union is like the energy just moving into the recovery room. While for masculine and feminine energy that is in deep within divine union, this is the energy that's focused on building into that pathwork of the self. And so much of that pathwork of the self is built upon and based upon the refinement between those qualities and characteristics I told you that are happening here, that is helping to empower the energy to do things in ways that they haven't done it before. For masculine, it is determining the difference between childish and childlike. And for feminine, it is determining the difference between ice and fire. Both of these energies, like again, being like it requires that discernment, because that makes all the difference, and the difference is intention. Final card for today's spread between our 10 of Cups in its reversal and our Devil card in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Magician in its reversal. Now, this is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. We were just having this full discussion right now, right? This is how the energy is healing in a way, and it's requiring a lot of refinement. For masculine and feminine energy, it all, like I said, it all has to do with the sense of energetic intention. So more of this discussion that we're having between childish and childlike. This is the masculine that is evaluating within the self qualities and characteristics that feel childish, which is that sense of doing something that only serves the self and is indulgent and ignorant of the needs of those around them. Masculine is asking themselves if there's something that they're doing from a sense of play that feels like it is a gift to those around them. This is that sense of creativity, right? That is that childlikeness that is expansive, that everyone can share and everyone can partake in. So we see even here that this is a lot of that masculine energy, rebuilding confidence in what feels childlike, and maybe observing those points where they accidentally threw away the childlike characteristics because someone told them they were childish. Similarly, this is feminine that is reclaiming some of their own energetic fire. And the reason that the feminine's able to rekindle or recall forth their own energetic fire in terms of focus is coming through via the ability of the feminine to determine the difference between the cold quality of uncaring, that sense of the feminine becoming ice or becoming too hardened, that they only move in relationality to the invested interest of the self, versus the quality and characteristic of fire that feels like it is, again, creative, it is passionate, it is expansive, it is giving, it is bringing forth, it warms those around them. So we see even now that that is both of these energies potentially, and this is feminine that may have recognized that that sense of self-discipline they moved away from, because in the space or the place or the anxiety of becoming ice, they accidentally threw away something that was like important to make fire. So we see even now that both of these energies are healing in profound ways by recognizing that quality and characteristic of intentionality. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, coming into divine union, this is the energy that's now entered a space of recovery. This is a lot of energy right now. This is energy that is feeling like coming into divine union is being like moved out of the ICU and now into a space or place where they can really identify and understand the trauma that may have occurred prior to coming into that space. And in the moment and modality of suddenly looking at something from the past as a place where one created wounds that are now getting healed, this is the energy that's own perspective of the past is changing, because that's no longer the space or place where the opportunity to heal comes from. It's the thing that you're recovering from. While for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation, so much of this work that we see that is happening right now in separation is the energy that is recognizing how much they have changed. And a lot of the energy here that is recognizing how much they have changed is via recognizing and seeing potential counterparts. And if there's a quality or characteristic there that isn't expressing itself, this isn't energy that's holding on and saying, maybe I can change that. Maybe that'll shift. This is the energy that's just coming into a point of acceptance. And in that modality of accepting, this is the energy that recognizes that that's the energy that's not building towards someone's potential. They're building towards someone's purpose, someone's presence. When we stop building into potential, we start building relationships from presence. And so we see even now, this is the energy that is staying committed to that path work and healing as they do so. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is Queen of Wands in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy, this is having a difference. For masculine energy right now, I want to say a lot of this work that we're seeing here, it has to do, I feel like I just keep seeing that a lot of this work of masculine is working through spaces and places of the past, wherein masculine feels like there's something that they were told that the feminine desired, that they move themselves into, that they're now recognizing may have been misinterpreted or misunderstood. I just keep seeing this right now. I just keep seeing so much of this masculine energy feeling frustrated that their own connection towards feminine in the past did not energetically prepare them in a way to be able to understand this. For feminine, I see a lot of this frustration of the feminine is a lot of this claiming, like calling back their energy, if you will, has to do with the feminine building into that point of confidence, not feeling like they need to be overly adaptable or overly changeable. So I see even now that so much of this work that we see is occurring right now in these areas, there's a lot of path work that needs to be navigated here. Feminine, desiring and feeling that sense of looking and seeking masculine that is not intimidated by the feminine coming from a place of being their authentic self. Masculine is in separation right now, looking for feminine energy that is not afraid to be their authentic self, because the energy of the feminine that is able to be their authentic self is also the feminine energy that knows what they want and is able to articulate it. So I told you, these energies are set to find one another in separation right now. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, this is the energy, and this is a little bit different for masculine and feminine. For masculine, this is recognizing the things in the past that you wish you could have done differently. For feminine, this may be feeling more of that frustration and something that you're seeing now that you couldn't see in the past. While for masculine, and you can see even now, like for masculine, this may be feeling more like an emotionally cathartic experience. For feminine, it may be feeling more frustrating or more like, again, like there's more questions that are coming through, right? These are the questions that feel like they demand answers. While for masculine and feminine energy that is deep within divine union right now, this is the energy that's just navigating that pathwork of the higher self. And I'm just seeing even now that for so much of that energy, that sense of doing something in a way that you haven't before, it's frustrating because it feels like you're playing catch up. I can see it even now. For masculine, this feels like that desire to reclaim something in that point of frustration, because that's that moment of feeling like you lost something important at a time that someone told you had to stop doing something, but misinterpreting that in a way that you're now trying to reclaim something that you saw wasn't necessarily harmful at all. For feminine, that is building into that point of energetic confidence to such a degree that, again, you feel frustrated about those spaces or places that may have made you feel like it was like required for you to make yourself smaller, because it made it feel like you were more at that space or place of having to be accommodating of the energy around you instead of your most authentic version of self. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I would encourage you to do it there. Also, a couple of updates before we move into personal readings right now. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone who attended my class last night on the Hierophant. It was such a delight to be able to go over that card with you. Our next class will be held on Thursday, October 10th. At 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Lover's card. I am so excited to be able to teach this card with you guys. This is we've completed one of the energetic cycles in the lessons that we've explored so far. Can't wait to unpack some of the new changes that we see as we arrive into the Lover's card of the Major Arcana. If you would like to become a part of that class program, all you need to do is head over to my Substack, gracestrega.substack.com. Your paid subscription to my Substack will grant you entry into our live class each month. It'll also grant you access to all of the course materials and recordings for the previous classes, so you have ample opportunity to catch up. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything that we're learning. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. So I want to thank you if you're already participating in my classes, and I look forward to potentially seeing you at our next one. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings, services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will give you full insight as to my weekly live schedule. You'll also get notified as to any giveaways that I have. Speaking of giveaways, we are now doing a giveaway for a free private tarot reading with me. If you would like to become a part of, enter that giveaway, all you need to do is head over to the link tree in my bio. There is a 2-minute travel survey there. Filling out that travel survey will grant you entry into the giveaway. But if you would like to increase your chances of winning, go ahead and forward that survey to a friend, because when I pull the winner of the survey, I will be giving away a tarot reading not only to the person who wins, but also to whoever referred them. So thank you if you've already entered, and I wish you the best of luck in winning this month. I also want to let you guys know that on top of tarot readings, I now offer mentorship classes. These are focused on whatever area of personal growth or study you are most invested or interested in learning about. I take a very limited number of students for this reason. Also, and these can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series. That would be 4 to 45-minute classes, 1 per week over the span of a month. I'm also offering for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, 1 per week over the span of the month, so that you can stay more consistent on your own journey. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.